Okay, so check this out. The visual microphone. I mean, the whole idea sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? How to hear a picture. But what if I told you it's actually possible to pull sound out of a video that was recorded with no audio at all?
So let's just get right to the big question. Can you really take a completely silent video, one with no audio track whatsoever, and somehow recover the sounds that were happening in the room? It sounds impossible, but the answer, amazingly, is yes. And how they do it? Well, it's absolutely brilliant.
To get our heads around this, we've got to start with the basic science behind it all. This isn't magic, it's about detecting tiny, tiny movements that are completely invisible to you and me. Right, so we all know that sound is just vibrations in the air. But what we don't often think about is that those pressure waves make everything they touch vibrate too. A plant leaf, a box of tissues, you name it. The catch is, these movements are incredibly small. We're talking microscopic.
How small are we talking? Well, think about a single pixel on your screen. The movements they're looking for can be a thousandth of the width of one of those pixels. There's just no way our eyes could ever see that. And you think there's no way a camera could capture it as actual motion.
And here's the secret sauce. This is the brilliant insight. The algorithm isn't trying to see an object jump from one pixel to the next. That's not what's happening. Instead, it's looking for something way more subtle. As an object's edge wobbles, a pixel on one side of that edge gets just a tiny bit brighter, while the pixel right next to it gets a little bit darker. And that tiny flicker of brightness, that's the signal. So here's how they do it, broken down. First, the program finds all the sharp edges in the video frame. Then, for every single frame, it adds up the brightness changes on one side of the edge and subtracts the changes on the other. It boils all that complex visual information down to just a single number that goes up and down over time. And that fluctuation, that is the sound wave. So the theory was solid, the algorithm was clever, but when they first tried it out, they slammed right into a major technical hurdle, the frame rate limit. For their first real test, they used a pretty decent camera, one that could shoot at 180 frames per second. They played that classic shave and a haircut rhythm and filmed a crumpled ball of tinfoil. The result? Not so good. You could kinda maybe make out 2 of the beats, but that was it.
And the reason it failed comes down to this one term, frame rate. It's just how many pictures a camera snaps per second. Your phone probably shoots at 30 or maybe 60, and that, it turns out, is nowhere near fast enough to see sound properly.
This quote explains it perfectly. Think about it. If an object is vibrating 30 times a second and your camera is taking a picture 30 times a second, you're going to catch the object in the exact same spot every time. It'll look completely still. To actually capture a vibration, you have to film at least twice as fast as the vibration itself.
So, if a normal camera is just too slow for the job, what's the solution? Well, for the next experiment, they brought out the big guns.
Yup, the answer was more speed. A lot more. They brought in a high-speed camera that could shoot at an incredible 1,000 frames per second. Now that is fast enough to sample the frequencies you'd find in music or human speech.
Okay, so they ran the experiment again. They processed the new high-speed footage, and this time, the waveform they extracted was a perfect match for shave and a haircut. They could see it. But when they went to play the audio back, nothing. Just static. Imagine how frustrating that must have been, to see the sound on your screen but not be able to hear it.
So they're scratching their heads. Did the algorithm fail? Was the data bad? Nope. The problem was kind of hilarious. The sound they had recovered was at such a low frequency, the tiny little speakers on their laptop literally couldn't reproduce it. The sound was there the whole time. So they plugged in a decent pair of headphones, hit play, and there it was. Perfect. The entire shave and a haircut 2 bits rhythm, clear as day, pulled from a totally silent video of a piece of tinfoil. They had done it. They had built a working visual microphone.
Now, this is a super cool experiment, no doubt. But what are the real-world implications here? Why does any of this actually matter? Well, let's talk about security. Because this tech isn't just about fun experiments. Researchers have used it to recover understandable human speech from behind soundproof glass, just by filming a houseplant in the same room. A bag of potato chips sitting on a table can be turned into a remote microphone. And maybe the scariest part, the vibrations from you typing can be picked up, revealing exactly what you're writing.
And how good is it? Well, other research has shown that just by analyzing the sound of someone typing, you can figure out what they wrote with up to 96% accuracy.
Now imagine what's possible when you don't even need a microphone in the room, just a camera with a line of sight.
So I think that's the big takeaway here. We tend to think of surveillance as obvious cameras or hidden microphones, but this technology completely blurs the line between seeing and hearing. It really makes you think, and I'll leave you with this question. If an ordinary bag of chips can be a microphone, what else is listening?